Hi everyone, I'm Wendy and I'm back with another video where I show you samples of what I've been eating over the last month or two. If you're new to the channel, I eat an oil-free, whole food plant-based diet, and that's mostly what you'll see in this video. But I'll also show a few meals that I shared with my boyfriend, and he's currently eating a slightly more processed vegan diet. First up, let's start with sandwiches. I've been eating a lot of sandwiches lately because it's been really hot and sandwiches are a nice convenient option that I enjoy in the summer months. Here I had a hummus sandwich along with some potatoes and a salad. I usually use Ezekiel bread, or my local grocery store has similar kinds of sprouted whole grain and legume breads. I make my own oil-free hummus, which I'll put a link to here if you want to check that video out. And here's another version of an open-faced hummus sandwich. I usually just put a few veggies on that. Here I've got tomatoes, onions, and cucumbers. I marinated the onions in a little bit of red wine vinegar for a nice tangy flavor. Then on this day I was eating at my parents' house and my mom had made some marinated tempeh and her homemade whole food plant-based mayo to make a tempeh lettuce and tomato sandwich. We also had some homemade baked fries with that. On another day I made the chickpea salad from Well Your World. I'll put a link to that recipe in the details below the video. I had that along with some potatoes, ketchup, and more of that mayo that my mom made. That day my boyfriend had a vegan burger. I think this one was a Dr. Prager's burger, and he had some shredded vegan cheese. I think this was the Better Goods brand that you can get at Walmart. We also had a salad with that meal. We've been making these salads with spinach, strawberries, walnuts or pecans, red onion, and a reduced balsamic vinegar. It's so simple to make and so delicious. Then we had another similar day with another burger. This time he had a Beyond Burger with some Violife vegan cheese, and I had an actual veggies patty on some Ezekiel toast with potatoes. And one last sandwich, I had some of my curry chickpea patties in the freezer, so I cooked one of those up and had it with lettuce, tomatoes, and onions on Ezekiel bread with potatoes and another one of those spinach salads. I also had some grape juice. I don't drink juice a lot, but every once in a while I have a craving for it. And I can't believe that some juice actually has sugar added. This one is just 100% grape juice, and it's so sweet even without extra sugar. Then here's another day where I cooked up a few more of my chickpea patties. I'll put a link to the video where I show how to make this, and I'll include the recipe below the video. I had that along with a giant salad and Chef AJ's cauliflower bisque. I absolutely love this creamy soup, and I'll also put a link to her recipe below the video as well. Next up, let me show you a stir fry that we made. I've been wanting to try this soy-free tofu for a long time, but haven't been able to find it anywhere. So I was so excited when I recently found it at a natural grocer's. I do eat regular soy tofu occasionally, but I have a sensitivity to soy, so I can only eat it in small amounts. So this is a great alternative, and I actually really enjoyed the texture of it. It's very similar to regular tofu, but I almost think I like this even better. We marinated it and then cooked it in a non-stick pan. We didn't use any oil and it cooked beautifully. It got a nice golden color on it. We had that along with these brown rice pad thai noodles and some frozen stir-fry veggies. After the tofu was done cooking, we set that aside on a plate and dumped the frozen veggies into the same pan to steam for a few minutes while the noodles cooked. Then we added the noodles to the pan with the rest of our tofu marinade and some red pepper flakes. Last but not least, we added the tofu back in and stirred it all together. We served that with a little drizzle of tahini on top. If you wanted to add a little oil, some toasted sesame oil would have been great with this, but we kept it oil-free. Next up, I've got a few random meals that don't follow any recipe. I just threw some things together. Sometimes I like to go super basic and just fill up on lots of starches. Here I've got black rice with potato slices and my homemade oil-free hummus. On another day, I had that same thing. It's got black rice on the bottom, some more of those potatoes, a bunch of hummus, but this time I added a couple slices of avocado, a little bit of hot sauce, and some red onion. Here's another random meal where I had some quinoa and I mixed up black-eyed peas with a little tomato paste and some onions and seasonings. I had that along with more potatoes. On another day, when I was cooking with my boyfriend, we made my Bombay potatoes recipe. I'll also include a link for that video. Normally, I prefer to eat brown rice, but he likes white rice, so that's what we had. Here's another night I ate with my parents, and my mom made the teriyaki tofu from the Engine 2 cookbook. That's one of our favorite cookbooks, and this is one of my favorite meals from it. but they use quite a lot of soy sauce or tamari in a lot of their recipes, and we usually cut the amount by almost half. And we also used the soy-free tofu again for this meal. Here's a day where we did breakfast for dinner. I made my tofu scramble and we ate that like little breakfast tacos on some corn tortillas. I just added a little salsa to mine, but my boyfriend also added some plant-based cheddar cheese. And my mom made us some of her monkey bread to go along with it. I think I'm gonna end up with too many videos that I won't be able to link all of them, so I'll probably put together a playlist and I'll include the monkey bread recipe in the playlist. Next up is another super fast and simple meal I made. I had leftover black beans. This is the charro beans recipe, also from Well Your World. It makes a huge batch, so I usually freeze some of it. I defrosted a portion of that and added some chopped onion, tomato, and bell peppers. I topped it with a little salsa, and I also had that with, surprise, surprise, another giant plate of potatoes. Then here's a breakfast meal I had recently. Normally I just eat my batch cooked steel-cut oats every day, but every once in a while I have rolled oats. On this day, I made rolled oats with blueberries, and I topped that with ground flaxseed, a couple chopped pecans, and I had some freeze-dried strawberries. I also had a smoothie along with it, made with spinach, mango, banana, and blueberries. The blueberries make it so it's not the most beautiful smoothie, but it still tastes good. If you want a pretty smoothie, try making one with beets. This is another smoothie I made, and the beets give it that gorgeous color. It was also absolutely delicious because it used a lot more fruit than I usually put in a smoothie, but I had some beets I wanted to use up and I found this recipe online that I wanted to try. I'll put a link for that below the video as well. It had the beets, banana, strawberry, ginger, and the recipe I found calls for orange juice, but instead I put a whole orange in it, and I used cashew milk to blend it up. Next up are a few more meals I had with my parents. This is a taco bowl or nacho bowl, whatever you want to call it. It's got a bed of brown rice, my taco lentils, lettuce, tomato, onion, and it's topped with my vegan cheesy sauce, salsa, and some avocado. We ate that with corn tortillas that we toasted into chips. On another day, we made tofu nuggets, which I've also demonstrated in another video, and I'll put that in the playlist as well. We ate that along with potato wedges, a purple cabbage slaw, and some corn on the cob. For the cabbage, we shredded that and combined it with shredded carrots and sliced onions. For the dressing, I did my basic no measure recipe, which is just a little bit of balsamic vinegar, some date syrup, a bit of stone ground mustard, and a little tahini. Here we have my mom's meatloaf patties, along with some fire roasted corn and chickpea noodles mixed with my vegan cheesy sauce and spinach. We also had a side salad topped with my mango salad dressing that I also shared recently, and again, I'll include all of these recipes in the playlist below. And here's yet another really quick but delicious meal. I warmed up some corn tortillas. These were the Food for Life brand, and to that I added some mashed black beans along with peppers, tomatoes, and onions, guacamole, and salsa. As usual, I also had potatoes with it. Next up, here's a little sweet treat that I made up one day. I had a baked Jersey sweet potato that I needed to use up, so I made up this muffin. It's sort of a banana sweet potato muffin. It ended up being really good, so I think I'm going to make a video demonstrating this recipe. Stay tuned for that. Last but not least, I had another treat that I rarely ever make, but my boyfriend has been craving them for a while. So we made vegan Rice Krispies. We used Dandy's marshmallows, and to keep it oil-free, instead of vegan butter, we used cashew butter. We melted that in a pot on the stove, and it did not look very appetizing at first. It took some time and patience, but it eventually melted, and we added the Rice Krispies in. These were brown puffed rice from Natural Grocers. Once it was all mixed up, we pressed it down into a parchment-lined pan, and it ended up being a little clumpy, so we've got chunks of marshmallow on top, but it was absolutely scrumptious. This is definitely not something I recommend eating very often. I personally can't stop myself, so I want to eat the whole pan in one sitting. But if you need a sweet treat to share with friends, I definitely recommend trying this out. As always, I hope you enjoyed seeing what I've been eating lately. Hit the thumbs up if you got some inspiration for your next meal, and feel free to share what plant-based meals you're eating in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.